Hey, everybody, and welcome once again to Nose in the Book, a Bible reading commentary with me, your host, Pastor Justin Van Reed. So great to be with you for the next few minutes as we take a look at 5 more chapters from God's Word. We have before us today in our readings 1 Chronicles chapters 11 and 12, Hebrews chapter 13, Amos chapter 7, and Luke chapter 2. If you have any questions or comments about any of these readings, please feel free to post those in the comments section below. Otherwise, let's consider what we've got here. First off, First Chronicles chapters 11 and 12 here. We're not fully out from the genealogy yet because we still, though we're not doing the genealogies, have a list of a number of different individuals. So moving quickly from First Chronicles 10 into chapter 11, we leave Saul behind and just had that basically picking up where the book of First Samuel ended and then right into Second Samuel here. But you'll notice that the events recorded in Chronicles is different than Samuel. Some of it overlaps and sections are word for word, but then there's a lot of new material or just put into a different arrangement or order. And so we have to remember that a lot of the material we're given, whether it's in Samuel or Chronicles, is not necessarily chronologically ordered for us, but rather most biblical books, it's thematically ordered. Things that kind of went together, to make a theological point. That's how the life of someone like David is presented. That's generally speaking, right? In the beginning, yes, it's birth stuff, child stuff, and in the end, death. But the material in the middle might be ordered in a different way to make a theological point. Here, after we read of David becoming king, right away we jump to David capturing Jerusalem. And then from there we move right to David's mightiest warriors. And this is something that comes at the end of 2 Samuel, but here it's put right up early on. And of course, it makes sense. These are guys who were David's chief fighters, loyal to him throughout his kingdom, throughout his reign. The list is given here of David's 30 mighty men and some of the examples of the things that they did, really incredible, really powerful things, and how they risked their lives for David. Of course, in the 30, you have men like Asahel, and you have Benaiah. These are guys that Abishai. These are guys who you can read in Samuel what they did, but here's some really cool examples given as well. One of my favorites is when Benaiah here, verse 22, chased a lion down into a pit and killed it on a snowy day. So it's a lot of detail there. Must have been quite a day there for Benaiah. All right, one of the following this list here of the 30 from 30 mighty men, you have chapter 12 with those who made up David's army here and the warriors in his army. And so again, a number of names listed out here, as it says, brave and experienced warriors. For example, from the tribe of Gad, who went to David in the wilderness. Commanders, and on it goes here, right? From Benjamin and Judah, came to David at the stronghold and said, we are yours, David. Men from Manasseh, other armed warriors. And then it goes tribe by tribe to talk about all the warriors. So this is really, describing all of David's support that he had militarily, right? As it says in verse 38, all these men came in battle array to Hebron with the single purpose of making David the king over all Israel. In fact, everyone in Israel agreed that David should be their king. You see that kind of, saying there. Everyone, the real focus and exaltation of David here, and the importance of David in 1st, 2nd Samuel. All right, let's move to, or 1st and 2nd Chronicles, sorry. All right, let's move to Hebrews chapter 13. So we're going to finish up here the book of Hebrews today. And early on in this chapter, you have a number of kind of like snippet teachings to start off here, but very important things for us to consider and to put into practice, right? Keep on loving each other as brothers and sisters, he says right off in verse 1, right? Don't forget to show hospitality to strangers. Talks about, entertaining angels. Remember those in prison as if you were there yourself. Remember those being mistreated as if you felt their pain in your own bodies. It talks about give honor to marriage, remain faithful to one another in marriage. Don't love money. Be satisfied with what you have. Remember your leaders who taught you the word of God. Think of all the good that has come from their lives. Follow the example of their faith. And then, because you have verse 8, Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So important, so powerful. And so don't be attracted to strange new ideas. Right? And then he goes to this, talking about here how, again, the preeminence of Jesus, really where he ends here. Right? Let us offer through Jesus a continual sacrifice of praise to God, proclaiming our allegiance to his name. Again, he goes back to, obey your spiritual leaders, those who watch over you, and they are accountable to God. Give them reason to do this with joy and not with sorrow. Then he says, pay attention to what I've written. Couple final greetings, and that's the end of the book of Hebrews. All right, we move then to Amos chapter 7. And here we have a couple of visions early on that Amos says, basically, Lord, don't do this. We won't survive. And so the Lord relents from those plans, one of sending locusts and one of sending fire. And as I said, in both cases, Lord, we won't be able to survive such an attack. And so God says, I will not do that. But then he has this plumb line, he says, right? I'll test my people with this plumb line and not ignore their sins. Their shrines are going to be ruined, and King Jeroboam, this will be Jeroboam II, is going to be brought to a sudden end. And Amaziah, the priest, says of Bethel, sends a message to the king saying, Jeroboam's going to be killed. The people of Israel are going to be sent away into exile. This is what Amos is saying. And so he says, Amos, get out of here. Right? Go back to the land of Judah. And Amos is like, you think I wanted this job? Like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't ask for this. I'm not as he says in the New Living, a professional prophet. I'm not trained in that. I'm just a shepherd. But the Lord called me away from my flock and said, go and prophesy to my people in Israel. And he says, listen to this message. You say, don't prophesy against Israel. Stop preaching against my people. But this is what the Lord says. Judgment is coming. Exile is coming. Your land will be divided up. Your people are going to suffer. And there'll be exiles far from their homeland. That's what's going to happen. Amos says, look, I'm just the messenger. It doesn't delight me to have this job, but this is true. This is what the Lord says. All right, Luke chapter 2, of course, recording the birth of Jesus, one of the most famous, passages in Scripture, especially around Christmas time, because you have the details given here about the historical circumstances of how Jesus came to be born in Bethlehem through the decree of Caesar Augustus. And of course, they had to travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem, Joseph and Mary there, because they were of the house and lineage of David. You have the vision of the shepherds showing up to, or the angels showing up to the shepherds and telling them that the Savior, the Messiah, the Christ has been born. So they run into the city to see what the angel has in fact announced here, and it says that they came and they found it just as the angel said. That's what they found. And so then they go, and it says they hurry to tell people, that spread this wonderful news that they have received from the angel. But that's not the whole chapter, of course. We read of Jesus' presentation in the temple. We read of Simeon and Anna, those who were waiting for the coming Messiah, and how now they're, satisfied. Now, God, what was promised them, they have seen that the Messiah had come, this one that was waited for hundreds of years, and that Simeon and Anna had waited throughout their lives. And then you hear at the end of the chapter, you get this scene here, only one we really have of Jesus as a child, and he goes up to Jerusalem with his parents, and he's there teaching, talking with the religious leaders there in the temple. Of course, they leave him behind. They come back. He says, didn't you know I must be in my Father's house? And they don't understand what he means. Then he returns to Nazareth with them. And it says here, Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and all the people. Actually parallels with John the Baptist before this, and then way back Samuel describing his growth. All right, that's all we have time for today. Again, we had First Chronicles 11 and 12, Hebrews chapter 13, Amos chapter 7, and Luke chapter 2. Hope you enjoy your time in the Lord's Word today. Until next time, keep your eyes on the Lord and your nose in the book. We'll see you again soon.